I don't know what's wrong with these statements. So they both remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them. Blood on both hands.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too, blood on both hands. Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilded's gloves has any signs of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir, and I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that a dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilded's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands? That is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. How could this be? Like a third person? There can't have been anyone else in that carriage, or you would all have seen. Would you have seen that? Are there any blind spots? I guess they were sitting like on the back bench, not in the front, because you can't see down the sky view from here. This seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for the two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up the roof decks, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Could there really be no third person hiding here? On this seat, maybe?
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus? That's right, it was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked? That's right, and it's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you, I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Uh-oh! Let's try here. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck, is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. That at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. Uh-oh. You will identify the area or the cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that the potential extra passenger could have been situated? Yeah, look at that. If they're sitting here, they can only look at this part, right? What about this part?
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. Oh, that's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker was sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Ah!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you are able to put a name to this mysterious passengers to whom you allude. What? Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? Can I? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? I have no idea! What? Wait, who could have been? Oh, we don't have the jurors in here. Lady Firth and Bruce Fairplay are both on the rooftops. I have no idea, right? There are not enough people in here. I have no idea. I have literally no idea. But as a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. Go on. This isn't just a case of going on, Mr. Sato. Alright then, I'll go on. The defense would like to put forward a name. What? You are a fool. Are you gonna crush your glass again? That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learnt. Let us not delay, Counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... What? It's not Sato. It's not Strongheart. It's not Magnus. Wait, what if it is Magnus? It is Magnus! That would make sense. Of course it cannot be Van Zieks. Mason, no, of course not. Beppo was the driver. They were on the rooftop. It's Magnus! The one sitting next to the victim was not Magnus at all. Oh!
Take that!
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see. Oh, that makes so much sense. Also, this would explain why Magnus's hands had no trace of blood. Oh, have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant. I know that.
Objection!
Oh! If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zieks! People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own, but I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say, you racist? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to that fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, Counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears, the glory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly, they both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant, without gloves. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim last night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary! Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. Their witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. If you are a hatter, why haven't you fixed your hat properly? What is wrong with your hat? And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be so sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Unless that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Well, I mean, he was asleep. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's more? What if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Yes! Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say! It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how everyone thinks at the guilt. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say? Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Oh my goodness. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let the proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court decides to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police? Begad, no, it's not in my nature to hide anything at all. Just answer the questions, please. And the truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell youse all or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilded? The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on a night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. What? Why didn't you say so? It's true. Aye, and it was me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. Get away? You... What? What? You helped the murderer get away? No, Magnus McGilded, that convenient excuse can't save you today. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you will be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was? Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see. A little child? What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. It was a woman? I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. And who was this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statement to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What? Smoke! Oh, fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away! After the snow, you can't see anything through that smoke. What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Leave. Don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amidst scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. Holy crap, what? What was that for? I mean, whoever did that, they weren't trying to save Mr. McGilded, were they? That would be crazy. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. We're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at a trial? And why are they answering questions of the prosecution without me, his lawyer? She was taking a huge risk and for what possible benefit to herself. There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mrs. Sato. Yes. There's a young girl next to Mr. McGilded, look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. My lord? I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army! What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught and now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded? I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why is it that this wee lass was here in the first place and why she tried to bolt like that? Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Oh, collapsed on the floor at my feet? Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Wait, what? There was a child in there. In where? What? I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus, is that correct? 'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass was the fifth passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Okay. You slept, and then a loud thud and a wee scream. I thought the scream came from above, from that Mr. First. A fella collapsed on the floor, so he set him up. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, there was a child in there. In where?
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. You're really overacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chin wag with her. A wee chin wag? What is that supposed to mean? The seat opposite. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You said this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time. Oh, that's Mr. First. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and gentleman with a knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat on the back of the carriage out of sight. Can we hear something from the girl, please, as well? It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course. With a scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruhodo, being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself... being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else at this testimony. Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited. We must just try to learn all the facts we can. Also, he told something to the prosecution without me present. That's a no-no. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Mr. Naruhodo, no grumbling, even in your head. How did you know? She can read my thoughts, I swear. A loud thud and a wee scream.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say, and a scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well, now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, then there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but a fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment you did hear a scream. Oh, from the seat above you on the roof deck, I assume? Not above me, no, my lord. It was from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. Okay. You sat him up on the seat across from you.
Hold it!
You set him up? The victim, you mean? That I did, on the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave him dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? Just common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Lord One Seeks, now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well, now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest? Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no, I was always intending to report it, so I was, only I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right, you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. The way it screamed I heard, for example, wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes, the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. I'm not getting new information. I do wonder how you must be feeling. Okay, this is the same, okay. Don't be dispirited. You turned to find out where that scream had come from. I still don't know where that scream actually came from.
Hold
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well, now, it is a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside.
Good gracious!
Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, the whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's when I found her. Hold on, but if she was inside the seat all along, then she couldn't have killed Mr. Mason. What now? Then who did kill him? Oh, I didn't even see that before. That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zieks has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Uh-oh, what is this foreshadowing, please? This seat looks reasonably soft. Okay. I thought we could investigate this. This seat has a handle, it seems. Oh. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. What do you mean, doesn't seem right? What does it mean, Ryunosuke? What doesn't seem right? I don't find anything weird at all. Okay.
Hold it!
And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as it were, I see.
Aye, and that's why I took the backside as I did. It is the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, that's how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite, the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, it is the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well.
Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. Oh! Lestrade? She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What?
This girl here, a petty thief? Order, order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question.
Oh, whoa! Oh, ah!
How dare you? What is the meaning of this?
She's gone.
Oh, the girl! She's gone! Open your eyes.
Oh. I'm over here.
Good gracious, how?
What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed a gent. Go on. That's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast... Ah! Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, right? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Nice animation. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs? Oh, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheeled tracks. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best.
Oh, do not whip that thing in my direction again.
So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? It's alright, lads, you can tell them the truth now.
Why? Why is it alright?
Alright, yeah, it's just like the Irishman said.
Irishman?
Oh, McGilded, I see.
The court accepts its guilt. Miss Gina Lestrade is a valid and significant witness. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question.
Alright, if I have to. Oh my god. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. I can't do a poor girl English accent. I just can't do it. But it was a right waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then, after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin, I did, and the scream just came out. It's because of that the swell found me. It helped me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go.
I fail to understand why you would let the street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Out his simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. She was in the seat, right? And he was sitting on it, so there's no way. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for.
Oh, I think a demonstration is called for.
This is where I was sat that night, and the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath the seat I put. Oh, it's the judge again. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there, because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Oh.
So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young lad was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question?
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this last fortunate lass. How noble of him. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman.
My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir.
Oh. Ooh. That's... Wow, way to sway the public opinion. With calm calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. But who did it then? Wait. It's a mystery.
Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty?